So not every repair is a simple injection repair. Many repairs were able to actually break the granite to gain access to the rod. This allows us to cut the rod and basically make a permanent repair. Um, this is the case in this project, where you can see a couple of areas where the crack actually extends to the sink. It allows us a little bit of right here, allows us a little bit of flexibility. There's another one over on the right, on the left side as well, so that we can actually break it and get to the rod. So as you can see, it was a much more extensive repair than it even appeared in the previous slide. On the right picture, you can see where we opened it up and were able to access the rod, but then we actually noticed that everything was moving. And this repair, these pieces on the front side of the sink rail, these pieces here, actually came apart in about 15 different little pieces. So we had to make sure that we put them back together properly. Otherwise, this whole repair was not going to be successful. It wasn't going to fit together properly. So simply cutting the rod wasn't going to do. We needed to make sure that each of these pieces was properly glued back together using the correct adhesive for long-term repair. When we say rod, most clients don't really understand or know how a rod goes into the granite or why it's in the granite. Well, this piece right here, this is the rod that's sticking out here. I kind of bent it out so I could take a picture. And as you can see, a slot was cut underneath the granite and this rod was dropped in and then covered with adhesive. Well, that adhesive breaks down over time and with a lot of moisture and causes this rod to expand and corrode. And that's why you end up with these kinds of cracks. I just wanted to give a close-up to this so that you can actually see it. You could see it in the previous picture. I didn't explain it. I wanted to explain it in this one. All right, here we're putting everything back in place. As you can see, we're using some wood stirring rods from Home Depot to kind of space everything out and make sure that we're able to clamp everything together without the clamp sticking to the granite. And you know, it's basically a very slow, tedious, detailed process of making sure that everything fits back to place evenly, and it allows us a place to grind the surface. So the idea here is to make sure that when these pieces are going back together, we can grind that surface smooth. There's no low spots or spots that would require us to make serious alterations to the actual surface of the counter. All right, our counter's put back together. The adhesive is cured, and now it's time to do some aesthetic work, meaning create a little bit of continuity, a little bit of break up, a little bit of the color in that crack so that it doesn't look as much like a crack. In a situation like this, it's not always possible to completely make a crack like this completely invisible. It was about 45 inches long, and at one time the granite did not actually fit together perfectly because there was some pieces that had been broken off. So some of these areas are already filled with adhesive that look like they're part of the granite already. So here's the before and after. The left side is very weak. You push on it, it'll bounce back and forth. We were able to remove all of these pieces by hand without any tools at all. The right side is 100% solid, put it back together with real epoxy. These pieces are not going to move for years. In fact, when they run and remove this countertop, the part that's going to be hardest to remove is going to be the part in front of the sink. Okay, here's the repair after the aesthetic repairs have been done. You can still see a little bit of work that right here in a more consistent area, right there, and then you can see a little bit of the crack here. Now, it's impossible to make every crack completely disappear, but this one I would consider a successful repair. We still have to, in this repair, as you can see, we still have to put in caulking around the sink as well as the backsplash, and that was done in this repair. As you can see from the next slide, it's going to talk about the review that we received from this client who loved the work. All right, here's the review that we received from Beverly. She's very happy with the results. As you can see down here, we did put a seal around the sink and clean and sealed all of her granite at no charge. It was actually part of the service, but she did consider that a value, and we do extend that same value for every repair. We do the crack repair in and around the sink, and then we clean and seal and polish the rest of the countertops so that everything looks nice and new again. Thank you for watching.